someone wrote in and said, I would love you to talk about the fear that one's desires are too unrealistic or niche to express or share with anyone. I'm here with Reid from readaboutsex.com.
Cathy from the Intimacy Dojo, sitting right by my side for our viewing impaired listeners.
Yes, and I think that's a beautiful question because a lot of times we don't talk about sex. We're not sitting around the water cooler going, yeah, my mower broke down, the babysitter was late again, and I had this fantasy, but I was afraid to talk to my partner about it because it's really kind of, I don't know if I can tell you. Like, we don't normalize it, and what's in our head starts feeling like, oh, that's scary. So I think that a lot of us have fantasies that we don't share a lot. A lot of people don't ever share them with their partners.
No, I mean, you also have a right to your privacy. Some fantasies you want to keep to yourself. Like, you're not a bad partner if you have things that you keep from them, especially if you can talk about that you have things that you keep from each other. And one of those that you can give permission to each other for is fantasies.
Yeah. And I really love you define, you shared this with me, I'm sure you didn't come up with the idea, but erotic is something that is a fun fantasy in our head, but we may not want to do it. The sensual thing is like, I really want to experience this. Oh, you did? Great. Well,
I came up with my version of it.
Okay.
I don't know where. It probably came from Betty Martin, and then the book that Betty Martin recommended, Jack somebody who passed away. Jack, you were awesome. Sorry that you passed away. Called The Erotic Mind. I was also influenced heavily by the thinking and words of Marsha Baczynski, Sherry Winston, Carol Queen. There's a buttload more that I could name.
No pun intended.
But yeah, I mean, for me, the way that I like to teach it is there's a distinction between what's erotic and what's sensual. Erotic is what turns your brain on, and sensual are sensations or experiences that turn your body on. And it just helps to make the distinction.
Yeah.
And then fantasy tends to live in the brain, the erotic brain, and doesn't have to do with reality at all, and actually never has to ever be fulfilled on, even if it's a thing you could actually go do.
What I really love is when I have partners that I can be close enough to, and then over time I've built up a trust and I can share. It's really hot when someone will whisper something in my ear that matches one of my erotic fantasies. Mm-hmm. And there's just a bonding and closeness especially if the other person doesn't feel like you must do the thing I'm telling you. It's just, I'm sharing this with you. Mm-hmm. There's a space for it to build closeness and understanding of each other. And I think we all have things that are pretty niche or unrealistic, I guess is what the word they use, that are out there, but that doesn't mean that can't turn us on.
Oh, yeah. Again, what's erotic doesn't have to do with anything about it being possible or not, right? Or logical or whatnot. What turns you on just turns you on. And also the idea of the turn on of just having something that is taboo or hidden. The idea of sharing something and getting turned on because you were being vulnerable. Yeah. Which is hilarious because around sex and erotic turn on, there's lots of vulnerability and turn on for some people in sharing it, right? Like, ooh, I let the cat out of the bag. Whereas, for a lot of people I know, it would be way more vulnerable to share your debit card PIN number. Yeah. But that doesn't, I'm getting so turned on that I told you, my PIN number, haha. That doesn't work.
It's not the same thing.
Not the same thing.
Yeah. So
I mean, maybe for somebody out there, maybe.
Yeah.
While we're having sex, you're whispering your PIN number in my ear. And I'm oh.
Well, I think it's okay to have whatever fantasies you do, and to build up trust. You don't have to go up to a new lover and say, "I'm going to tell you this thing that feels really core to your identity and very personal."
Yeah, and the flip side, for some people, until they feel safe and connected with you telling them your fantasies could be too much too soon. Mm-hmm. Right? Because that's a private thing. I don't want to be that deep in your mind yet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And some people feel responsible that if you tell me your fantasy,
I've got to go do it.
Now I have to do it somehow.
Yeah. So again, if there's plenty of stuff out there on the internet, you can find out that other people. If you go to FetLife, there's a lot of people probably talking about whatever unrealistic or taboo thing or niche thing you're talking about.
And for those of you who don't know, FetLife is kind of like the Facebook for kinky people. So just be forewarned.
Yeah.
We'll click on things you can't unclick.
So, but yeah, just to normalize it, that there's nothing wrong, and it's okay to feel what you feel and share when you feel ready.
There you go. If you need, leave comments, and as far as like sex and fantasy things, if you have questions, you can totally email me at reid@reidboutsex.com, because sex is kind of the thing I do.
Thanks very much, Reid.
You're welcome.